are current conversations with Lydia, Andrea, and Leah. And over the past 8 weeks, we have developed a blog and podcast regarding current events. We have covered topics like how books have had an influence on current events through our blog. And through our podcast, we have most recently talked about video games and its effect on current events.
It's March 23rd, 2021, and you're watching Current Conversations with Lydia, Andrea, and Leah. Today, we're continuing our conversation of the internet and social media as previously covered by Leah. She went over the essence of it, and today we're going to talk about why it's important and how our viewers can utilize this.
Yeah, so basically we want to talk about the role that the internet and social media plays in current events and how we view current events. And to figure that out, we again interviewed some students, and these are the questions that we asked them. 1, do you think social media has had an impact on your mental health? 2, do you think social media has influenced your view on politics? 3rd, do you use social media as a news source? And in relation to that, do you think that social media is selective in the news that it highlights? And lastly, what is one way social media has had a positive impact on your view of current events?
So we crafted these questions to see whether or not people view social media and the internet as positive or negative and why. And we want to use these questions and these answers along with reputable sources to tell our viewers whether or not they should utilize this resource, the dangers of it and the positives of it.
I definitely like when I see like models post like their amazing beautiful bodies, and then I get insecure of my body, and that just affects my mental health. And then like when I see like all my friends hanging out and like they don't invite me, but like, and then that also affects me because I'm like, oh, I'm sad they didn't invite me and they're excluding me. But without mental health, I could have not seen that, and then I wouldn't be feeling that way.
Yeah, I definitely think social media has had an impact, whether it's through comparison or maybe it leads to anxiety, just that like I'm not living up to the standards of what like the world has for me, or this super Christian, or maybe it leads to pride because of like posting things that I've done in my life or things that I've got to experience or ministries that I've served with. And I just think that that can cause a lot of hurt that would not have been there a generation ago if I wasn't looking at my peers or my mentors or my friends' lives right in front of me all the time.
Social media really not one way or the other, but I think it really made me want to disconnect from politics altogether because of how divided you can see, people are on it. It was just like, I don't want to be associated with this, and just the hate that people are spreading around. I don't use social media as a news source. I think that there are things that I hadn't heard about, and I'll hear about it, but then I'll Google it individually, because it's just, I think social media is just so opinionated.
And I don't take a lot of my political standings from social media. I really only use Instagram, but it is really interesting how different people can have like certain pushes. Like I can know that my Instagram is not the same that maybe your Instagram is, and that like scares me, and so I would tend to probably find my news sources on other platforms, but I think it has influenced some of the drama that politics has now become. I think during COVID especially, it has been really cool to just be able to still connect with people, whether they are friends in a different part of the world, or John Krasinski's Some Good News. Like, it was just encouraging to see what people were doing as they were banding together. And so, as so many people don't have the body of Christ, they aren't believers, but they still were able to choose to do good things and choose joy. And I think that was really unique to see. And I do think that there can be like positive influences from influencers and stuff on social media.
When I get to see more happy things, like if I follow a certain influencer or organization, and they post things spreading good things that's happening in the world, that's had a positive impact on my life because I get to see more of that, and I don't tend to focus and follow accounts that are more negative and just post the bad things in life.
A study done by the American Psychological Association found that high school seniors heading to college in 2016 spent an hour less a day engaging in in-person social interaction, such as going to parties, movies, or riding in cars together, compared with high school seniors in the late 1980s. As a group, this decline was associated with increased digital media use. However, at the individual level, more social media use was positively associated with more in-person social interaction. The study also found that adolescents who spend the most time on social media and the least time in face-to-face social interactions reported the most loneliness.
So to combat this, Mark Zuckerberg has developed this artificial intelligence that would monitor and track different people's Facebooks, their feed, their curated posts, what they're posting, their Facebook lives, to see if there is any warnings, if there is any signs of suicidal thoughts or actions. Tragically, multiple people of all ages have attempted suicides on Facebook Lives, on Instagram Lives, on different platforms, live streaming this terrible event. And authorities have many times not showed up fast enough. So with these new systems that different social media platforms are implementing, they're trying to combat the 10th leading cause of death in the world, which is suicide. So as we've seen, social media has dangers as well as positives. At Current Conversations, we would recommend that everyone should use discretion. We can't completely rule it out because there are great things that have come from it, such as connections, especially during this time of COVID-19. But also there are great dangers, so we would just recommend everyone use discretion and see what works for you, because it is different for every single person.
Thank you for watching, and join us again next week as we continue the conversation.